Hello, welcome. Today we're going to take a look at how to create our 3D printed magnet using Autodesk Inventor. Prior to having Inventor open, I was on the internet and I have found 3 graphics that I want to take and save to my H drive that I want to trace and try and make magnets out of. So I have these saved to my H drive and I have them in the folder in my H drive which is titled 3D printing. You should also have a 3D printing folder in your H drive and your logos, your graphics should be in there. Okay, hopefully that's done. Back onto Inventor. To begin, we're going to go to File in the top left-hand corner, select New, Standard IPT, and click Create. We're going to start with our 2D sketch, and as always, we're going to place that on the XY plane. Click Front in our World View Cube before we start drawing is always good practice. One of the requirements that you guys have for this is we don't want it much bigger than a 2" by 2" area. So using our rectangle, we're going to make those guidelines. We're going to start at our origin. Once we get our green dot, click, stretch out a rectangle. I'm going to type 2 for my horizontal distance, press the tab key on the keyboard, type 2 for my vertical distance, and press enter on the keyboard. And that's the general guideline shape for my part. Okay? Press escape to let go of the rectangle tool. And now we're on to our image. So I'm going to come up here to the top ribbon bar, and in the insert section, I'm going to choose image. I'm going to click on the pull down menu here. Go to my H drive, which is towards the bottom, first initial last name 000. And in your H drive, this is where the 3D printing folder is. So let's click to open that up. I'm going to choose that top graphic and select open. Click to place it. You can see that it's much larger than my initial rectangle that I drew. So I need to scale it down a little bit. In the bottom right hand corner of my image, there's a little red dot that pops up when I'm right there. I'm going to click, hold down on the mouse, and I'm going to scale this. I want to scale going horizontal as I do it. If I try to change it, it kind of tips my graphic as well. So keep it horizontal and scale it down. Okay, get it to about the right size. Click on the main part of the graphic. We're going to move it into our part. And maybe I want that just a little bit bigger. Okay, that's not bad. About 2" by 2". Next, I'm going to need to start tracing this. So I zoom in a little bit, get close to my graphic. That's pretty good. Don't want to work too far away. And I want to use a new tool for us that's called a spline. So underneath the drawing tools in the Create section, there are little buttons for each one of these. We're going to click on the button underneath the line icon, and this gives us a couple different options. I want to choose Spline Controlled Vertex. Okay, Spline Controlled Vertex. And I'm going to take and I'm going to start in the upper right hand corner of my graphic. I'm going to click, start my spline coming around, and I'm going to click all along the contour of this part. When I get to an outside corner or inside corner, I'm going to stop and then redraw for the next section. So here we go. As I take and I click, you can see this glyph kind of shows up behind us. There's a handle right here that brings me up. I can take it off to the side if it gets in the way for us. Okay, if I miss as well, I can always stop and undo, move him off to the side, and when I get to an outside corner, I can green plus mark, which means it applies and I can continue with the spline. The check mark means I'm done with the spline and it'll put it away. So every time we do this, we want to click the Apply green plus mark button. Okay, now you can see I still have my spline tool. Click, come out. Now if you accidentally clicked the green check, that's not a big deal. It kind of ended it there. I just have to come back up to the top. I can click undo if I want to get rid of that little line segment. Click my spline tool again and restart from my green dot where I left off. And continue along and follow the outside contour of my part and my graphic. You can see I'm not totally right up next to it. You'd have to click a lot of times in order to get it right up next to it. Once again, I'm on an outside corner here. I want green plus mark so I can continue. And keep coming around with my graphic. You can put as many as little clicks in there as you want, but keep in mind the detail that you're looking for, this is only 2" by 2" approximately. I'm at an exterior corner again. Green plus mark to continue with the spline. I'm going to restart with my green dot and come up along the outside contour here. And green plus mark again. Restart with my green dot. Straight lines are kind of cool. You can bring them across. One click, we're done, but I still got a green plus mark in order to continue along. Coming down here, I bet you that glyph is going to kind of get in the way. Yep. And we just got to take and move him out of the way almost every time that we click. Kind of a pain, but this is what we got to do in order to get the part traced. There you saw I zoomed in a little bit. And now I'm coming way up to the top by his ear. Green plus mark. Continue with my spline again. Green dot. Straight line's nice, coming down. Green plus mark again. I'm going to zoom in on the top part of that. Get my green plus. Ooh, that glyph kind of gets in the way, doesn't it? Just got to work with it. Don't get too frustrated. Green plus mark, and then I'm going to come up to the top here. Green plus mark, start again. And I got to move them out of the way a couple times. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. And continue with my trace. Exterior corner again, green plus mark. And here, once I start this spline, I'm going to start with a green dot and end at my starting point with a green dot. That way it's totally contained and it's going to be one solid body. Okay, once I'm finished and I click that last one, I'm going to green check mark to click OK. It's kind of like pressing enter, and we should have everything traced. Now before we do any extrusions or anything like that, we're going to take our graphic that's here, got a lot of stuff on here, and press delete. I'm going to take my rectangle that's on here and press delete on a keyboard. I could also right click and select delete. Either one is fine. So now all I'm left with is just my graphic that was traced. Once I have that done, I'm going to green check mark finish sketch. Click home in my world view cube, and now I'm going to take and extrude. I want to extrude in the flip direction going back, and I want to take and change my distance. 1 inch is pretty thick for this. I'm going to change it to 0.125, which is an 1/8 inch, and click OK. Now that we have our part that we're going to 3D print, we need a space for the magnet. And magnets always go on the back. So I'm going to click the top right hand corner of my world view cube. Now I can see the back of my world view cube. I'm going to click on that to select it. And now I'm going to take a 2D sketch and place it on the back of my part. Get it into view and zoom in maybe a little bit. Now our magnets are circular in size, so we're going to use the circle tool for this. I'm going to place it kind of towards the center. Click and stretch out a circle. My diameter is 0.33. Make sure you have the point in there. 0.33. Press enter on the keyboard. And now I'm going to press escape to let go of my circle tool. And I'm going to grab the center point of that circle and I'm going to move this to a spot where it's kind of in the center of my graphic. Make sure that I'm not off to the side in any spot, but in the center, and it's all surrounded with gray area. That looks good. Okay, green check mark, finish sketch. I'm going to click one of the top corners in my world view cube, so I'm on the isometric with my back showing. I'm going to extrude. I want this to go in the flip direction, so that it goes opposite into the part. And I'm going to change the depth that this is to 0.08. Okay, once again that number was 0.08, and we want flip direction and the cut section selected, and click OK. So right now we have our 3D printed part. We have a spot in the back for the magnet to get glued into, and it looks good from the front view. Okay, let's go and save this. We're going to go up to the orange file in the top left hand corner of the screen. We're going to click on Save As. We're going to put this into our H drive. Click on the pull down menu, go down to first initial last name 000, click on 3D printing because that's the folder we have, and we're going to call this your last name, and then 3D printed magnet. So once again, your last name and 3D printed magnet, and click Save. Now that we have that done, we need it in a file format that is going to get sent to our slicer. So we're going to go up to File again. We're going to go down to Export, Export CAD format, still in our 3D printing folder, and we're going to change this to an STL file. Okay, once again, leaving my name alone. I'm going to click on this second pull down area, and I'm going to come down to STL file and click Save. Excellent. Now that you have that done, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is the video for how to run a slicer and a 3D printer. Congratulations on getting this far. Move on to the next video.